What's up YouTube? This is going to be your guide on how to use Hoopa and Hoopa Unbound in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'll be providing competitive movesets and some fun me movesets too. If there's a Pokemon you'd like to see me cover, put it below in the comment section. If you enjoy these, they help you out, drop a like, and let's get into it. So, I'll be covering two of the forms of Hoopa today. So, with Hoopa, it starts off in its normal form, and when you give it the prison bottle, it'll change into its unbound form. Basically, normal Hoopa is a psychic and ghost type Pokemon, and it's got the same ability as Hoopa Unbound, but the stats are vastly different. So let's have a look at this first set here. We've got a Specs and a Scarf set. So what I'm going to do is I'll do a Hoopa Unbound, Hoopa Unbound, sort of like that. I'll give you guys lots of different movesets you can have a look at. So looking at these stats here, we've got a nice fat special attacking set. Good special defensive stat there too. Reasonable attacking set. And very average sort of speed there. Not that, very, 70 is like one of those kind of bad speed stats where you can, there's a lot of stuff that outspeeds you, but it can still work in the right situation. Now, Psychic and Ghost is going to be 4 times weak to Ghost as well, so you've got to sort of remember that. Usually, I just run a defensive Terror on it, which is going to work well for that, as you can see. All right, let's have a look. So we've got a Specs or a Scarf set here. Both can work reasonably well. Specs can give it some more damage output, and Scarf can give it some more speed, which can get over its kind of bad speed stat. Magician is the ability. Basically, what happens if the Pokemon has no item, it's going to steal an item off the Pokemon it hits with an attack. So for some reason, if you got hit by knockoff without a Terra Fairy, for example, you're not going to be around. But let's say you went Terra Fairy and they knocked off your choice specs. Well, then you could attack the opponent and you could get whatever item they're holding. It's a gimmicky ability, right? So first move here we got is Hyperspace Hole. So Hyperspace Hole is a psychic type move. It's special. And it breaks through protection. So if any opponents want to go, protect, you can get around that. Another option is you could run Psychic as well. The difference is Psychic is a little bit more powerful, 10 more base power, and it also has a tiny chance to drop the special defense. So versus the breaking protection. So for singles, I would probably run Psychic, right? That would be my take. I mean, there are situations where you could hit through protective moves when the opponent was trying to stall and stuff. But overall, I'd say Psychic is going to be better because it hits harder and it also had that special defense chance there. I just wanted to explain both of those. The other Hyperspace is going to be better for doubles. Next move, we've got a Shadow Ball that's pretty straightforward. Nice, special ghost type move. Terra Blast Fairy, which is really, really good. So you've got that quad ghost and dart weakness there. Fairy's perfect, right? And you can hit back really hard, go to a Dragon type, or just sponge the attack and go for Psychic yourself, right? The last move on there is going to be Trick. So Trick is a great way to get rid of your choice item, choice specs, or choice scarf. So you can cripple a Pokemon, and then you can use all your other moves there. So it's not a bad item. Obviously, bear in mind, if you are running especially a choice scarf set, you're going to lose a lot of speed once you get rid of that item too. So you need to do it at the appropriate time for sure. So this is definitely more of a single set. This one would be for sure. I mean, you could try it in doubles, but if you were to try it in doubles, at least run Hyperspace Hole on there because, Protect is a lot more prevalent in doubles. So that would be my my kind of advice there if you were to give that a shot. All right, but as you can see, that's the that's like the stats of the Hoopa, normal base Hoopa. When you go to Hoopa Unbound, they drastically change. So this gets a lot more attack. It gets a lot more special attack. So we're looking at the same health, a lot more, another 50 base in attack. Same defense, 20 more base and special attack, same special defense, and 10 more base and speed, right? So that's the difference between the two Pokemon as well. Psychic and Dark typing comparing to Psychic and Ghost. So this is 4 times weak to Bug now. But there's different options you can do that. So Unbound is a bit of a beast. It can be a great physical attacker, a great special attacker, and even a great mixed attacker. It's quite a versatile Pokemon, so you can do a lot with it here. I just made up a mix set for the fun of it. The EVs are quite involved here, so let me walk you through that. So firstly, Assault Vest is a great item on it, especially on this sort of set here. It makes it really, really tanky, yeah? So Terra-type Poison is good, because that's going to resist any bug-type moves thrown at you. And it's also going to power up, Gunk Shot, which is great for Fairy-type Pokemon, which you're also weak to, right? So we've got Drain Punch for any Steel-type Pokemon. Good coverage, good recovery. Knock Off, a really, really powerful move on Hoopa Unbound. Its attack stat is wild, even with only the EVs that I put into it. Psychic is a good Psychic-type move, for sure. And then we got Gunk Shot, which is for fairies and sort of supports the Terra Poison there. Now, the EV spread. This is obviously going to be a bulky, slow, mixed attacker. So we've got Max Health, 32 in attack with Brave Nature. So we're going for like Trick Room here, basically. Trick Room sort of build. Now, you could use this in doubles as well. You could if you wanted like a mix set. 128 in defense and a 96 in special attack. So with this build here, I tried to keep its attack and special attack virtually even, right? Because I wanted to hit hard on the physical and special side. So you wouldn't have to worry about its psychic moves, its special moves being weaker than its physical moves. I quite like that. And you've also got that coverage then too. You don't have to say if it's attack, you had more EVs in attack, then you'd be hitting a lot weaker on the special side there. So I sort of made them even, and I dumped the last 128 into defense. So, it wouldn't get hit by physical moves as hard. That is one of its weaknesses, is its defensive stat. It's not really that good. That's pretty much built. I've got Brave Nature in there because I didn't want to drop any of the other stats because I'm running a mix set. And it's not really fast anyway, so I don't think you're really missing out there. I mean, if you don't want to run in Trick Room, you could still outspeed a few things with it too. So that's sort of up to you. I like that set because it gives it gives it good coverage and it's got a good defensive terror as well. But this Pokemon is wild. Like, you can be a really, really good physical attacker and a really good special attacker. As I'll show you as well. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. It's quite versatile. All right, let's have a look at some double sets. So here's our first one. I thought you could do a Trick Room set with Hoopa, normal Hoopa, right? And it's actually got all the tools to do it. So we've got 252 in speed, it's 252 in special attack, EV's Quiet Nature. Now that is a big fat special attacking stat, all right? Now you got to think about things like Calyrex Shadow Rider and stuff. Like this would be very bad for Calyrex Shadow Rider, right? So if we can get this under a Trick Room, it's going to be really good. So we've got Shadow Ball as Ghost Stab, Hyperspace Hole. It's great for any protection moves. People trying to maybe stall out Trick Room. Really good for that. Focus Blast is actually quite needed for any Steel type Pokemon. Quite good for that. And Protect. The item I've got on is Room Service because it kind of works well with Magician. Magician is gimmicky, don't get me wrong, but you could drop its speed even further because there are Pokemon that can still outspeed that under Trick Room. So that is going to drop its speed again. And you're going to be able to steal an item as well. And if you've got an inkling on what the opponent might have as an item, or maybe you can steal a good item, or take an item from the opponent, that could be quite good as well. So that's sort of my CD. I've got Terra-type Psychic because I'd probably run this along something like Indeedee with Psychic Terrain, and then you could spam Hyperspace Hole, right? That could be a really, really good idea for sure. Now, obviously, you've got a Psychic and Ghost typing. So Psychic, I mean, you're still going to get hit hard by Ghost and Dark types, right? If you want more of a defensive one like this, you can run Fairy. Definitely, you can go for a more of a defensive one, a Fairy. You could go for something like Terra Normal for any Ghost type moves. So like Shadow Rider could be quite good. That could actually be a good surprise there. So you've got Terra Normal. And then you've only got one weakness, which is fighting. And I mean, a fighting type's not going to like a hyperspace hole, right? So I reckon Normal's low-key good on it. Like, that's actually pretty good. So that's definitely something you could run alongside, say, a Trick Room in Deity. I'll give some more examples at the end, but that definitely, to me, that definitely gels really nicely. So, Hoopa Unbound. I wanted to run a interesting set here. So, it does get Expanding Force, and I wanted to make use of that. So, same sort of setup here. We want it to be running under Trick Room. Now, I've got Terra Fairy on this as a defensive Terra. We've got Eject Pack, which once again works well with Magician. You can, nab yourself an item. And you can also couple it with any Pokemon with like Intimidate, U-Turn, Volt Switch as well. I think that synergy is quite good. So, when you're nearing Trick Room's end or it's ended, you can eject out of there, get the Trick Room up again and send it in, right? So Hyperspace Fury is a Dark type move. Basically, it's a physical version of Hoopa's Hyperspace Hole, right? Now, Hyperspace Hole can only be learned by normal Hoopa, and Hyperspace Fury can only be learned by Hoopa Unbound, right? So you can't, that's pretty much it. So we got Dark type move, 100 base power. The only thing about it is, the difference is it actually drops your defense by 1. So that's the difference. Now, base power and defense drop by 1. So it's a little bit more of a stronger move, but the downside is you got to drop your defense there. So that's where Eject Pack comes into play there, right? So you can set your own Trick Room up, or you can have it with another Pokemon. Expanding Force would be really good. So if you got Psychic Terrain up, that could work. Another great item on there could be Psychic Seed. So Psychic Seed and Magician. Because Psychic Seed can give you a special defense drop, which would be great. That's another option as well. So Expanding Force is going to doing tons of damage, and Terra Blast Fairy as well for coverage. EV Spread, 120 in health, 156 in attack with Brave Nature, 232 in special attack. So we've almost got that nice flow of attack and special attack basically lining up there. So it's a really good mix of that, because that's impressive to have those stats on special attack and attack on both sides. Really quite impressive. And you've just bumped the last little bit into health there. Its health really isn't all that great, but you're going to be dishing out a ton of damage there. And you're going to be very bulky on the special defensive side as well. But there you go. That's another way how to go about running Hoopa Unbound in doubles, if you want to use that, because the Regulation J is coming up. So I'm been covering all these mythical Pokemon. All right. Next set. Let's have a look at that. So this has to be mentioned as well, Nasty Plot, because Hoopa does get this. Now, this is definitely a singles build here, but you could definitely roll in a Nasty Plot set into doubles if you like to. So we got Nasty Plot, sub. It's a Nasty Plot sub-select set. So we're going for main stab of Shadow Ball. And this time I'm rolling with Psyshock, because this is going to allow me to be a mixed attacker with Psyshock. So I'm hitting defensively. So say a special defensive wall comes in, like a Chansey or something, boom, you can hit them defensively, right? And then you got Shadow Ball there just for stab. And you've got this, it's just a great move on it. So Stellar type, I gave it Stellar type. I think that's still kind of interesting. You could, power up your Shadow Ball and Psyshock. Probably a bit too gimmicky though. So I'd opt for maybe a defensive one. You could just go defensive Fairy. That way you could get us Nasty Plot. You could go Terra Fairy sub or Terra Fairy Nasty Plot and then attack after that. Scarlet Berry is going to activate at a quarter max health. So that's going to allow you to get a +1 in speed. So you're going to be reasonably fast then. You're not going to be blisteringly fast, but you're going to be reasonably fast. And you're going to have the option of spamming some really, really powerful attacks too. Max special attack and max speed, timid nature. Terra Fairy, yeah, this is a good defensive nature. You know, you can't really go wrong with Terra Fairy on Hoopa. It's got those big blinding weaknesses that, you know, people will try and exploit for sure. Even with no EVs, like a dark type, like knockoff is just going to annihilate you every time. So yeah, that's another way you can run that. Now, you could also run Hoopa Unbound like that as well. You could run that as a... let's do it right now. I just want to do this because I feel like doing it. So, Hoopa Unbound gets nasty plot as well. Like, you can make this... You know how I made that mix set at the start? There's absolutely no reason why you can't make this a full special attacker as well. Now, since this does have a little bit more speed... You might be able to opt to go for that. Or go Choice Scarf on there, right? That could be another option. If you want Nasty Plot, that could work. It is still a little bit slow, but you could always try the Select set on there as well. Exactly the same moveset. That's another option as well. The thing about Hoopa Unbound, its niche is it's a strong mix attacker. Rather than normal Hoopa, which is just a special attacker, right? So this is its niche. So I feel like you want to make use of that. Like, make use of its being a mix attacker rather than just another clone of, you know, normal Hoopa, right? That's another thing where it comes in too. You could have it as a physical attacker. Now, that is definitely different to normal Hoopa, and it can work as well. Man, that's such a good attack. So you could run max speed and attack, or you could do something like this. You could go max health and attack, and you could go like, does get knockoff. So you've got like knockoff, trick would be good on there. I'm going to change the item for that. Let's give it choice band. Choice band or choice scarf, right? In fact, let's go choice band or scarf. So kind of like that first set, right? But a physical attacker. So knockoff. I think it gets Zen Headbutt. That's its... Yeah, it gets Zen Headbutt. So you could do that. And then you could give it something like... It is going to struggle a bit against steel, though. That's my only concern. So maybe Drain Punch. Yeah. Okay, so that's an option. So you got knockoff, Zen Headbutt, Drain Punch. Now, if you're worried about fairy-type Pokemon, you can give it Gunk Shot. Trick is another option there as well. So sort of pick what you like there. And you could do Terra. Just making this up on the spot right now. Terra Poison, yeah? It's pretty good. Mega attack stat. Great coverage, you know. And good sustain as well. You could put Assault Vest on that easily too. You could even do... Like, so even in doubles, like something like Electric Seed would benefit Hoopa Unbound because its defense is trash, right? So you could get, say, a Miraidon and have Electric Seed too. So I'm not saying like that, like that's super good, but you could give it some more defense, you know? That's another good idea. Alternatively, you could have Trick Room, so you could drop the speed EVs and dump them into health and go Brave Nature. So that's another option there too for Hoopa Unbound. All right, so that's quite a few examples there for sets. You can play around with Hoopa Unbound because it can do mixed and a lot of different like roles there. I've got a PIMPNITE special for you. Let's check it out. All right, here we go, guys. So we got a Trick Room set here. It's kind of similar to the set I was talking about, but it's way more gimmicky. So we've got Zen Headbutt, flinch spam under Trick Room. So we go for as many, you know, flinches as possible. And it's going to hit really hard. Like 160 base in attack is crazy. We've got Fling and Iron Ball. So that's going to be a fat fling. That's going to do heaps and heaps of damage. Really good. And of course, you know, Iron Ball only helps it out in Trick Room as well, you know. Or you could do Big Nugget as well. They both have the same base power. So Zen Headbutt, Fling, Drain Punch for any Steel-type Pokemon, and Sustain, and Trick Room again. Terra Dark, or you could go Terra Fairy or Terra Poison. I just like having that big, massive fling. I think that's going to be doing some crazy damage there. Health and attack, brave damage, brave nature, and you're going to do some crazy, crazy damage there. I like that set. It's going to be a lot of fun. And, you know, just constant flinching as well. They'll make the opponent really, really salty. So that one's going to be definitely more of a single set for sure. I mean, you can try it in doubles, but it's probably not going to be quite as effective. Anyway, there's some sets for you. Let's talk about some teammates now, I think. Okay. Now, we have to talk about Indeedee, right? With Trick Room and Psychic Surge, right? This is gonna be really, really good. You could even have Terrain Extender on Indeedee, you know. So this is really good, right? Look at this synergy. So say if you had a Hoopa, say if you had like even this, like a rooms like this set here, right? What you could do is you'd have Hoopa. Obviously, it's 4 times weak to Ghost, but you can go Follow Me on here to follow any Ghost type moves. And you can set the Trick Room up and bolster it with Psychic Surge. That's a really, really good synergy. Because Indeedee is a normal and Psychic type. So, you know, it can wiggle its finger and you can get them, you can get those nice Shadow Ball redirections and doing nothing. So that could be great. This also has access to Dazzling Gleam, so that can cover some of your weakness as well. I quite like that. It's a pretty solid sort of set there, and you could just give it Psychic as well. Sadly, it doesn't get Expanding Force. That would have been amazing. The male gets that, but still, you know, it's good. I've done an Indeedee guide as well, so I won't dive too far into Indeedee moveset and stuff, but that's really good for doubles. Like, that would work very, very nicely. Quite like that, for sure. So, let me just bring, let's bring up some more stuff. So, that's a good teammate. Any sort of Trick Room Pokemon's going to be good. Ice Rider. Ice Rider's going to be good. Gotta type in Calyrex. Yeah, Calyrex Ice Rider is going to be really good for sure as a Trick Room Pokemon. It's going to be excellent. So that can set some Trick Room and away you sort of go there. They're both like crazy powerful attackers. I've done a Calyrex Ice guide already. If you want to check that out, definitely some good stuff there. So Trick Room. Now counters. I've already said the counters to this already, but you've got like Dark type Pokemon, right? So even both of these would benefit from a Fairy type, So there's quite a few you can use. So Clefable is not bad at redirecting attacks. Say in doubles, you got Follow Me on there. I already mentioned the other Indeedee too. So Fairy type Pokemon are going to be your friend there for sure. So there's quite a lot of them you could possibly go for there. There's tons really. As for mythicals, Majana would be really good too on this team because this is that Trick Room team and Soul Heart. That could be really, really good as well. So there's some nice synergy going on there. That could sort of cover that Dark type weakness. You could have something like, this is nasty. Majana, Hoopa, Indeedee. Ooh, that doesn't sound like too much fun to verse. But yeah, there's some more teammates there. That's it's going to be useful. It depends what Hoopa you use too, because this is going to be like they're both. Well, that one's obviously they're both weak to that one's weak to Ghost there. And this one's weak to Bug. So maybe on that one you have the Fairy-type Pokemon. Even Fairy would work well on this one too. And then you'd have like Unbound. You could have a Fire-type Pokemon. Let's say... I was going to say something like maybe... Not Chi-Yu. Even... Actually, Groudon wouldn't be too bad there. Or Heatran. Maybe Heatran. That wouldn't be too bad as well. For any of those Bug-type Pokemon, that could, really get rid of them. And also, you've got a Steel typing too for any Fairy-type Pokemon, so that kind of That kind of works well. Hoopa and Heatran. What else do we have here? Corviknight, that would be okay too. I'm just trying to think on the spot. There's actually quite a lot of Pokemon that could, they could work with. Pretty much for the Trick Room set, you just want like some good synergy there for sure. You've got that with stuff like Indeedee and Shadow Rider, and not Shadow Rider, Ice Rider. So that's gonna be super good. On the more speedy set, I mean, I was saying you can't run it under Trick Room. It's just not, in my opinion, it's difficult because you either got to rely on a choice item or Tailwind. Now, Tailwind could work. I'm not saying that it couldn't, so let's have a look at that. Like to explore all kind of. Yeah, so Corviknight. Enamorus is interesting. Enamorus. And even Tornadus as well. Tornadus could be useful. Yeah, so that Pelipper could be good as well. You could try and work Pelipper onto the team with Tailwind, but I think that Tornadus would be good. Tornadus is a very good, Tailwind setter. And it's got Prankster too. So that's a definite good option there for sure. Now, as for let's have a look at some last minute stuff here. They all get this. They get the same sort of moves. Now, Destiny Bond, it does get that too. I forgot to mention that. So you could always try and slide Destiny Bond onto it as a last sort of throw move, say in a Trick Room team, and you can't get rid of a Pokemon, or you don't think you got to feint it. You could pop the Destiny Bond at the last moment and feint yourself with it. So that could work really, really well. I kind of like the idea of that. I definitely. Let's get special. So. Sorry, go status. Okay, so it can set up light screen and stuff, but I don't think it's suited for that because it's quad weakness. You don't want to have to just go for Terra and just to set up some screens. It's better Pokemon. It does get Calm Mind, and it does get Nasty Plot. We sort of went over that. Trick Room, it can set up. It has Ally Switch as well, which is interesting. So maybe you could do Ally Switch with a normal type Pokemon in doubles. Maybe that could be the go, You could play some mind games there. That'd be cool. Yeah, it does get Skill Swap as well. Skill Swap could be interesting. Maybe you could Skill Swap, Slaking a Magician. Then it wouldn't have like such a terrible ability. But you could try something like that. That would be that would be rather interesting. It does get Gravity as well, which is interesting. But I think that's best left to support Pokemon. Let's have a look at its special moves. So, Expanding Force it gets. We went over that. It's good for Psychic Terrain. Focus Blast is good for Steel types there. Grass Knot is interesting. That might be useful against Pokemon like, say, something really heavy like Groudon if you're doing legendary battles and stuff like that. Yeah, it gets not too much else after that. Thunderbolt is interesting, but I don't know how much coverage that would really, truly give you. And, it does get Psychic Noise too. Yeah, Psychic Noise might be useful for just an anti-stall. That could be good. I see that being more probably useful in singles than doubles, I would say. Hyperspace Hole, of course, you're going to break protection there, so it's going to be good for doubles. Finally, physical moves. Actually, we'll do it on Unbound here. Just for the purpose of being able to see. It's signature move. So Drain Punch is very good on there. Fire Punch is an option for Steel as well. Then we got Gunk. I like Gunk Shot on there because that really can hit Fairy type Pokemon hard and also a good defensive Terra. Hyper Fury, well, that's just a good move in general, mainly for doubles, and you can use your item. If you don't want to use it in double or singles, Knockoff is the next best one. Lash Out Tech is kind of interesting with its stat being lower, maybe Intimidate, but it's more gimmicky because you got to rely on that. Throat Chop might be interesting against something like a Hyper Voice Pokemon, so like a Sylveon. But once again, it's a bit more gimmicky because you got to rely on that, and then it's going to get outclassed by Knockoff's base power with an item, so probably not as good. Zen Headbutt, I wouldn't really call that a great psychic move on it. Even it's going to hit hard, don't get me wrong, but it just misses too much. And 80 base power is nothing to write home about either. It's okay, you know. And then it gets a couple of other funny moves like Astonish. Again, Fling and Iron Ball is no joke. That'll hit really hard. I mean, I know I've done it before. It hits like really hard. But, you know, once you've used it, that's sort of a dead move there. Yeah, that's it. It does get Ice Punch as well. That's good. Does get some, you know, actually gets pretty good coverage on the physical side. In my opinion, a lot better than the special side. It gets a lot more good coverage there. But anyway, that's just some sort of thoughts on these Pokemon. I'm trying to think if I've got anything else to cover. Yeah, I mean, if you got anything else to cover, I'm sure I might have missed a few things. I tried to be thorough as possible. So that's, yeah, so final thoughts here. Hoopa, Base Hoopa is not a bad Pokemon by any stretch of the imagination. I think in singles, it definitely needs to rely on something like a Scarf to outspeed stuff. Good special attacker, though, for sure. In my opinion, obviously, Hoopa Unbound is obviously a lot better Pokemon. It can be a mixed attacker, a physical, special attacker, great Trick Room Pokemon. Overall, it's better in my opinion, but still, it's an absolute unit in its attack and a special attack too. So really good Trick Room Pokemon, really good Assault Vest Pokemon, a good Pokemon to slot onto your team. I don't mind this Hoopa and Indeedee strategy that I was talking about there. That could be quite good in doubles too, if set up right. But anyway, some interesting Pokemon for sure. I think that might be all the mythical Pokemon. I think I've covered all of them now. So, oh wait, no, I've got a couple left. I think I've got stuff like Zarude and a couple of those, and Diancie. So a couple of those Pokemon that probably won't be used as much. But those two will be next week, I would say. That's about it, everyone. I'll catch you next time. Peace.